Yep. Bye.
Hello there. Thanks for having me on.
Hello.
Good evening.
How old are you?
32.
Okay. Do you want to adjust the background?
Yeah, I'm against gender equality because it's false.
What do you mean false?
Um, well, I've come across this argument called force doctrine. It makes a lot of sense to me. So
Oh,
basically,
I've heard of that. Are
okay.
you just
So
a misogynist?
you do you disagree with the premises, or so what is
Yeah.
your understanding of force doctrine?
Oh my god, I really don't want to talk about this again. It's just boring.
All right. Well, I mean, if you don't want to argue, and I guess if you're not
Oh
up
no,
for it,
I just think that force doctrine is stupid.
well, could you explain to me how you think it's dumb?
I mean, no. You know what it is, and I know what it is. I
Yeah,
just think it's
I know
dumb.
that's correct. I know that I'm convinced that it's correct. Can you tell me how it's incorrect?
Yeah. No, convince me how it's correct.
Okay, so I guess we can start with the premise. Do you agree that feminism pushes towards egalitarianism and tries to go away from patriarchy?
I guess so.
All right. So the second premise I would say is that the the most progress that women have made when it comes to getting egalitarianism has been through the past.
Because of men.
Yeah, it has been through the passing of laws, and if men hold the monopoly of force, then
Yeah, no, so then
women basically
the women
depend
don't get to
on
do anything. So all the men
patriarchy.
get to force all the men to do all of the things.
I mean, do you guys? I mean, can you counter argue it at all?
Um, yeah, no.
So if you can't counter argue, could it be that it's maybe a
Oh
bit
no, I didn't
convincing?
say that I can't counter argue it. I said no. Like that was my counter.
All right, but you're asserting that, but you haven't made any evidential case.
You haven't made any cases.
Well, we've agreed on certain premises. Do you disagree with any other premises?
The only thing that we agreed upon was that feminism, I guess, pushes toward egalitarianism, but I'm not an egalitarian.
But
I'm
that's what
not a feminist.
feminism. You agree that that's what
I'm
feminism has
not a
pushed for.
feminist. I'm not a feminist.
Okay, but Kate Millett, Susan B. Anthony, these type of
I'm
people.
not a feminist. Yeah, and those women were racist.
Okay, well, whether it's intersectional or gender
I'm not
equality,
a
it's still.
feminist.
But pushing for equality
I'm
is still
not a
not.
feminist. Yeah, no, I don't care. I don't care about like equality in the sense that you're thinking of.
Okay, so how do you get laws
I want
passed?
liberation. I want liberation. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I want liberation.
How do you do
So
that?
there would be no. Oh, I love it, noodle. So there wouldn't be like the kind of hierarchy that exists among men to oppress women.
How would you go about eliminating that hierarchy?
I'm not a pacifist.
Okay, great. So that means you're going to use some type of force.
Feminists are turf smoothing.
So do you have an answer to that question? What type of force are you going to use?
Whatever kind of force I need to use.
But you would have to rely on men to get that done.
No, I wouldn't.
So
That's
could
weird.
you give me any historical case where women have used force collectively to overthrow the will of men collectively?
Why would they? Like women have like like women have like been in and led protests, right?
Yes,
And that
but
it was like they were going up against like primarily like male police forces and like people who would like beat them and all of that fun stuff. Oh, thank you so much, Paige, for subscribing. So like women are not, and also men express violence towards women all the time, and women are violent all of the time.
yes, but when it comes to historical cases where
Yeah, I'm
women,
talking protests. I'm talking
okay,
protests, Victor, in like the early 1900s, where women were actively being beaten and jailed
yeah,
and
so
unalived.
we can go to the most recent cases of protests in certain Middle Eastern countries,
I wasn't talking about
and
that.
even in the
You asked.
1900s, like in the 70s and 80s, there have
I
been.
wasn't talking about the 70s and 80s. I was talking about before that. And you also, I don't know, like I don't particularly care about the level of violence that like men specifically are going to impose against women, because like that's something that all oppressors do.
Yeah, but
Like
it's an essential element.
white people, it's not an essential element though. But also like, you know that patriarchy hurts men, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of systems hurt people, but it can be a
No,
byproduct.
like patriarchy, yeah, patriarchy hurts men.
But that's
It's not good for men.
but
It's
compared
also not
to
good for
what system?
society.
Compared to what system?
To a system where there is no hierarchy.
Um,
Like, I'm not sure why you think that there needs to be a hierarchy.
just because when it comes to why do I think there should be a hierarchy? Mm, it seems to be how I've observed order. Um,
Yeah, what does
but
order mean to you? Hey, are you white?
no.
What are you?
Do I have to disclose my race to have a discussion? I'm not
I'm
understanding. How,
curious.
yeah, but how's
I'm
this relevant?
curious because it kind of. I'm curious because it kind of
Okay,
changes
I'm
the
black.
context of the conversation. Oh my god! I was gonna finish explaining. I don't know why you're so pissy all of a sudden. I was asking because it changes the context of the situation. Are you straight?
Yep.
Okay. Are you disabled?
No.
Okay. Like no mental illness or anything like that. Like no depression, no anxiety, no ADHD.
No.
Okay.
So back to the whole force thing. You can't really get around force when it
Um.
comes to law and order.
So
So in order to have laws, you have to have force.
I'm kind of curious how you feel, why you're so attached to force as like a necessary driving factor for order, when that's like, I don't know, that doesn't really seem to be the case.
Okay, so one example could be, let's just say you have a family, and in order to protect them, you need to have some level of force
Right.
to have a deterrence. So
Are you just
let's,
talking about violence? Like, I don't know what you mean by force,
yeah,
because you all kind of see force
okay.
as this like this thing, but
If I could define force, it can be violence or the threat of violence. I guess that's how I would define it.
so why do people need to live under the threat of violence in order to have order in society? I thought I did. I'm sorry, y'all.
Because it ensures a level of respect for the law that you couldn't have without it.
I don't know that it does.
Um, I would just observe that if, let's just say, have you heard of the term calling your bluff? If people called your bluff and you made a threat to protect yourself and you weren't able to do it, then you are not going to be able to enforce any rights that you claim you have. So if I have a right to something, I can assert that all I want. But if someone says, no, you don't, the only thing that keeps that person from respecting your rights is either they are in fear of violence that you can act against them, or they might be yeah, if they're a criminal who's
Okay,
not going to respect it.
so you said that you're black.
Uh-huh.
Did like do black people instill fear in white people in a way that maintains our rights and keeps us from being like subjugated in wider society? Because you're like, are you Black American, or are you
Yeah,
like first
I'm from
generation?
America. You're
Okay.
asking, do black people, because I think
Yeah.
what's baked in your question is something
Yeah.
I don't agree with. It's a presumption that white people are afraid of black people.
No, I'm
I think that
asking
can
you.
be a
Hi,
case,
I'm
but it's probably
asking.
not
Okay,
usually the
hi.
case.
I'm asking you. Number one, I'm a black person, and number two, I'm asking you because you're saying that force is the only way that people are able to exert their rights. So, is the way that black people are maintaining their rights, if you could call it that, through force?
No, because black people as a collective have not gotten together and use
Well, then,
force
like,
to, I mean,
how do we
can I
have
finish
any
my
sort of
question, or
rights?
can I finish my answer,
Well,
or what?
then, how do we have
So
any sort of rights then? Like, that's what I want
you
to
have the
know.
rights you have is that which you can fight for or that which are given to you. And currently we operate under the system of that which is our the rights that are given to us under the Constitution. If we decided that we don't like those, we can have another civil war or some type of revolution. But until that happens, you're basically asking to be granted rights from the top down.
White people deserve to subjugate black people.
Making a description on what something is not justifying it. So me saying how things are or making a case for okay.
Why are you against? So then why are you against the possibility of changing that structure? Because I don't see like a compelling argument that we should operate under the fear of domination. I am a black folk, yoink, and I'm gonna actually, fuck you. You can go away. Bye. I'm a black person.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to chill.
Did you want to finish your statement? I didn't quite understand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got distracted.
You were saying that. Well, I don't want to mischaracterize you. So, would you mind rephrasing or summarizing it?
Oh, I asked, like what's the point of not being willing to consider an alternative if you're not justifying it?
Well, first off, I have made the justification, and second off, I would say it's a more principled system and it's more coherent.
No, you didn't. You haven't made the justification.
Well,
because
okay, go ahead.
You just said that because force happens. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. You just said that you explaining what the situation is isn't advocating for it or isn't like agreeing with it. But then like what are you doing then? Like if you're saying that the reason that women are never like we're never going to have any sort of egalitarianism is because men hold the majority of the force, and I'm like, okay, but like what if we change things? What if we actively like work collectively to make that not a thing? And you're like, but it's never gonna happen because men have the force. And I'm like, okay, well like if other people have the monopoly on force like white people do in regard to people of color, BIPOC specifically, then like does that mean that they deserve to have it? Like is thinking about like not is considering like anti-racism something that is like not within our best interest because it messes with order? Like that's how I'm thinking of it. That's how it tracks to me.
Okay.
This is why the argument's not compelling to me, because I'm always being told, well, explaining how it is isn't justification, but then like what is it then?
Because if force doctrine is true, then the philosophy for equality is not physically sound. It's actually fundamentally inconsistent, and you can't.
But you haven't shown that it's true. Like you also haven't shown that it's beneficial.
Yeah. So the way, if well, I'm not. Because we got on this. We went on we got on a whole thing about me being black and how that identifies with the argument, which I don't think is relevant. My first attack was about gender equality, and the only way I see.
Know.
Okay, go ahead.
But like there's more than one way that you could apply force doctrine, not just in the case of gender, but in the case of any sort of hierarchy. And that's the point that I'm getting at. I asked you about your race because I was curious. Typically the people who are like, I care about order and I care about this are not black people. Especially people who are advocating for force doctrine.
So what? If a bunch of people you don't like said something true, does that make it not true?
No. It's typically like white, like neo-Nazis who are like trying to like present that to me as an argument. So that's why I asked. I was just curious.
Okay.
Like well, sometimes questions are just questions.
So to answer your question on why I seem to be so hung up on force doctrine, maybe a different way is because
I wasn't talking about his picture. It was purely the argument midnight.
It seemed I don't how do you distinguish yourself from the feminists? How do you advocate for laws that is different than the feminists?
I'm not a racist. That's one. And I don't care about just making women equal to men. Like I don't really care about like female presidents and like female dictators and female millionaires and billionaires and like in capitalism I guess like sure we should at least be working more towards people being equally subjugated. I don't know. Like it doesn't get me excited. So that's like one reason.
So you agree with capitalism to an extent.
No, I don't agree with capitalism.
Okay, so is it like Marxist, socialist?
I'm not a socialist.
I mean, do you
I
mind
guess
explaining what
like
you are so I can
I guess
understand?
like
I'm kind of like
I oh
in the
my
dark here.
god. Is there do you have a delay?
Let's test it out. One, two. You say three. One, two.
3.
Not really.
Okay. Then no. Um yeah, like I wouldn't really like strictly define it, but I do think that we should jail landlords at the very least.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't want to make the feminist case, then the socialist case is probably a bit. I could make that argument too, in the sense that.
I'm not a socialist though.
Okay, then. Well, do you know who you are? It's okay if you don't. Like, do you have like a?
Yeah. Yeah, I would identify closest with communism, but it's I don't prefer to put a strict label on it.
So you're definitely against most hierarchies.
Oh, like all of them.
Yeah, but you're still gonna. If you acknowledge that men hold the monopoly on force, you're still gonna have to get men on board with it. You realize that, right? You can't just do it like
What?
women only.
No, but like all women aren't all what? All women are not. You know that a lot of women have internalized misogyny and like a lot of women are like racist and sexist and homophobic and shit, right? And they're gonna like march right in step with all of the men who want to like keep those hierarchies intact. And I'm not interested in those women in the same way that I'm not like interested in getting men on my side other than the men who were like willing to leave all of that shit behind.
Yeah, but you would still have to rely on them
No,
exclusively.
I mean, like I would have to. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have to rely on them exclusively. I'd also have to rely on the women around me. Women fight. Where do y'all come from? Women
Well,
engage in combat. Women are like violent beings.
yeah,
Truly.
but in Iran, when they take their rights away, they don't fight to get them back. And if they try to, it doesn't. It's not really relevant
That
because it doesn't move the needle. So I mean,
there are
in the most recent
no,
case,
there are yeah.
I mean, I can't.
First of
Can
all,
I
oh
finish?
my
Can I just
god,
finish the point real quick? So I
no,
can't
you
finish the
can't.
point. You don't want to have a good faith
You can't because
discussion.
oh my god,
You don't
you
want to have a good
can't
faith
because
discussion.
oh my god, wine somewhere else. Literally, noodle. Why would I be for any hierarchy if it's oppressing me or if it's oppressing other people?